This is literally my third time trying to record this video, and I have not liked the first two takes because it just felt so fake to me. So I'm just going to record this talking to the camera as me and not trying to be all animated and make it an interesting video. If you want to watch, you're going to watch. If not, that's cool too. But I just want to talk about this because it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And as the title suggests, why is Gen X so popular right now? It seems like we see a lot of videos, especially recently, that Gen X seems to be a trending topic. Granted, it's not the highest trending topic, but there just seems to be some sort of maybe a renaissance or some sort of, I don't know if it's reminiscing or wanting for a simpler time, or this is just something that naturally happens as a generation gets older and starts looking back over their lives. I don't know if that's what's causing it or not. But I've noticed that there's just, even with my channel, it seems like anytime I talk about things from that unique lens that is a Gen X point of view, that it does really well and people are interested in it. And I'm just trying to figure out why that is. And so as per normal, I grabbed a notebook and I've been writing down some things that I just thought I'd share with you as far as why I think it is that Gen X has been so popular lately. And I really think it boils down to about three core things. And one of them is that Gen X is very much an enigma and a mystery to a lot of the younger generations. And I think the reason for that is because we were raised completely different than they were. And yeah, some can argue that it's our own fault, right? We raised the generation now that we're so frustrated with, the same way that our parents were frustrated with us and kicked us out of the house. But therein lies the difference, right? Our parents kicked us out of the house. They made us go outside and do things and experience the world. They made us learn by doing. There's a reason why Gen Xers call it the school of hard knocks, right? It's because we literally got knocked around, and that's how we navigated the world for a very long time. We got knocked around, kicked around, beat up sometimes, and that was how we learned, right? And so we developed this ability to, through all of that, to really identify what's worth worrying about and what's not worth worrying about. Does that make sense? It's like we had those expressions growing up, and I heard this a lot. It's life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. I'm sure some of you are nodding your heads right now going, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, not only did we have that tidbit of information, but we also had the other expression that came in two parts, right? Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff, right? So we took those two pieces of information and blended those together and came up with this innate ability. Well, it wasn't innate, we developed it over time to be able to suss out what was important and what mattered and what was important with us giving our attention to. And so because of that, because of the fact that we're able to fairly quickly now, because we're very experienced at this, figure out what's BS and what's not, we get the reputation of just not caring about things. And as I'm going through the comment section on some of my videos and reading those and getting feedback, it's not that we don't care. The younger generation has it completely wrong. It's not that we don't care. I saw a video by Gen X Talks. If I can find it, I will link to it here. But his son was interviewing him and asking him things. Do you care about this? Do you care about that? Do you care about whatever? And he pointed out, you notice a theme here? It's like, you can live your life and do what you want to do, but once you start telling me what I can do, now I care. And that's how Gen Xers are. We don't care what you do or how you do it. Just don't tell us what we should be doing or how we should be doing things. right? And so I think that because of the way we were raised and how we figured things out, we just get that reputation of not caring, when the truth is we care a lot. I care a lot. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be here talking to a camera and sharing this on YouTube, right? I think that there's some valuable information to be gleaned from this and our experiences that the younger generation just weren't privy to because they weren't raised the same way we were. But I'm not going to belabor that point because I got two other points to get to. And the other one is that a lot of the younger generation, they tend to look at us as though we have life just all figured out. That some wizard came along and whispered in our ear the secret to life, and we were blessed to have that information, and that's why we're successful and we can buy houses. I literally had someone say, "Oh, you're privileged because you were able to buy a house." Look, I was in my 30s before I was able to buy my first house, and I am now knocking on the door of 50, and I rent again because the economy sucks, and I had to sell my house because life happens, and I got a divorce, right? So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I'm not out there crying about how somebody owes me a house right now. You know what I mean? That's for me to figure out and for me to get. But a lot of the younger generation just seem to think that we know it all and have it all figured out, when nothing could be further from the truth. I have spent most of my life not knowing what the hell I'm doing, and I will happily admit that. My sister and I joke all the time about a comedian from the late 80s, early 90s by the name of Jeff Martyr, who used to talk about, life's instruction manual, and it was probably attached to your umbilical cord, and his mom threw his away saying, "Oh, he can read mine later," and she never gave it to him. That resonated with me because I've always felt that way. I've always felt like I have no idea what I'm supposed to do in any situation that may be problematic. And I've always been in awe of those people who just seem to innately know what to do. My cousin's that way. My oldest sister is that way. They just seem to know what to do in every situation. And so I understand why the younger generation admires and looks up to, and it's like, oh, I wish I had that, because I spent a lot of my life wishing I had it too. But then I came to the realization that the older I got and the more experience I got, the more I was able to figure things out. And it's not that I somehow figured out the secret of life and how to be successful. It was that I realized I have the tools to deal with anything that comes my way. So it's not that we figured everything out. It's just that we have confidence in our ability to figure out a path forward when life throws an obstacle at us, right? There's actually a book by Ryan Holiday called "The Obstacle is the Way." And I'm going to link that book in my description. If you're interested in reading it, I highly recommend it, because to me, it illustrates why I believe Gen X is the last true generation of Stoics, and why we have the mindset of the Stoics is because we're able to look at an obstacle and not look at it as this insurmountable thing. We look at it and use what that obstacle is to figure out the way forward. The obstacle in front of us literally will show us the way forward, right? Once you analyze it, see what the issue is, why it's there, whatever the problem may be, that problem in and of itself, just by it existing, will illustrate to you the way to deal with it and move forward. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. I've spoken about it before on my podcast. Again, I will link it in the description. Grab yourself a copy. It's worth it. It's like $15. Totally worth it. But I think that's another reason why the younger generation looks at us and is somewhat jealous of our ability to figure things out and move forward. There's an air of confidence that comes with that we don't see it as confidence. We just view it as getting the work done and dealing with what life throws at us and moving forward, because what else are you going to do? Sit and cry about it? That's just not how we were raised. And then another thing, the last thing I will leave you with, is that Gen X does have a very unique point of view. It's the whole reason why I named my channel Gen X Point of View, is because we have traversed the world before the internet and smartphones and a computer in every home, and we have traversed the world and actually built the world that has computers in every home, multiple computers in every home. Everybody's carrying a cell phone. Even 10-year-olds now are carrying cell phones. And you have a world of information at your fingertips, because each one of those devices connects to the internet that is just infinite information, right? When we were younger, we had to go to the library and pull out specific volumes of an encyclopedia in order to find out the answers to the questions that we had. And so in that, we would research things and remember things because we would spend time studying, literally studying those things. And now these days, kids don't tend to do that. It's so easy just to grab their phone and Google something really quick, get the answer, and move on. And there's no effort involved. There's no heavy lift that strengthens that muscle of thinking and comprehension to then have that information stick with them long term. And I think the fact that we grew up in the world pre-internet technology and post-internet technology and actually built up the bridge that connects those two worlds, we have a profound appreciation for both. We understand the benefits and all the good that technology brings us, and personally, I love it. I mean, I've made a career out of it. It's what I do for a living in the real world. My day job is in the information technology field. I love computers. I love technology. And so I understand the importance and value in that. But I also understand the importance and value of unplugging, leaving your phone somewhere in the house where you're not, picking up a book and reading a book, an actual paper-bound, glued book, and reading that, or going outside and going for a walk, or sitting down at a restaurant with your significant other on date night and just having a conversation, or calling your buddies and meeting at a bar and having a drink, or going to poker night. We know the value of having social interactions that don't require a YouTube channel or an Instagram account or a Facebook account or being on X. We understand the value of spending face time with each other. And yeah, I know it's kind of hypocritical that here I am on YouTube spouting the greatness and the need for real human, physical, face-to-face connection, but it's true. We're not creatures that were meant to be isolated and left to our own devices. I think, as much as I hate to bring it up, COVID-19 showed us that, right? When we actually had to self-isolate and spend a lot of time alone, I think a lot of people realized just how important it is to have those real, genuine connections and relationships with people that are beyond a keyboard and are beyond the screen of their smart device. So Gen X has that view and that vantage point of knowing what it was like to be in that world without the technology that we have today and being in it now, and we can appreciate that. I know I'm belaboring the point, but I think that's really why we're seeing such a surge of why Gen X is so popular. It's because we are that missing link, so to speak, between two very different worlds. And from our seat and from our vantage points in our gamer chairs, or whatever, I'm gamer chair, that's me, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You know, a lot of times we talk about how bad we had it growing up and how we were feral and we were raised feral and we had to figure stuff out on our own and we were latchkey kids and fed ourselves and cooked dinners and this, that, and the other and did all that stuff for ourselves. And yeah, you know what? At the time, it sucked. I'm not going to lie, I didn't like it either. But it made me self-sufficient. It taught me how to keep the house clean. It taught me how to take care of myself. It taught me how to take care of others, meaning my children and my family. And it did make us somewhat self-reliant. And I think that is in us believing that was such a harsh reality to live through. I think we overcompensated for our own kids. And I think that we have made the world an easier place for them to live out of love for them. But we have done them a huge disservice in the sense that we didn't just grab them and throw them in the deep end of the pool and let them sink or swim. You know what I mean? We all experience that, right? Your dad or your grandfather grabbing you and throwing you in the deep end of the pool and telling you sink or swim. And we were terrified and you had to figure out real quick how to swim. We didn't realize, because we were young and stupid, that they were never going to let us sink. They were never going to let us drown. They were just teaching us that there are some things in this world you just have to struggle through and figure out. And when you do that, and you eventually do figure it out, because you will figure it out. You will figure this thing out. If this, 17 minutes into this video, if this is the only thing you take away from this video as a younger person, please let it be this. You will figure it out. Spend the time, think about what's going on and what you need to learn, and you will figure it out. I promise you. And those of us who have been there and done that, and we're telling you to sink or swim, we're not going to let you sink. That doesn't benefit anybody. So don't think that we will. We'll be there when you really need us to be. But take that leap. Try and figure it out on your own first. Then if you can't, we got your back. As always, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. I know this is a bit of a ramble, but it's something I've been thinking about for 2 days now that I just really finally wanted to get out and share. So I hope you liked it. If so, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I saw in my analytics that over 90% of the viewers to my channel have not subscribed yet. So I don't know what I need to do in order to get you to subscribe other than to ask. So if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to my channel. And for those of you who are already subscribed and who watch my videos religiously, I can't thank you enough for being here. And as always, I'll see you in the comments section.